Driver Danny earns a penny on Uber.
Right everyone, it's Saturday. I hope you all had a good shift yesterday during the rain, all the railways off and stuff. A lot of drivers did quite well. Now I don't know what today's going to be like. It's the calm before the storm. It's kind of the weekend before it picks up a lot just before Christmas. I'm hoping it's going to be a good shift. I've come out a bit later than I usually do. Now, for anyone new to the channel who's not seen me before, every hour I'll attempt to give you an update on the take-ins I've made during an Uber shift. Also, on that note, have you all read about the 3p-Per-Mile for EVs coming in? Well, I've already made a video on it, on how badly it can affect some of us. It's this.
Remember when they told us to switch to EVs to save money? Well, Rachel from accounts has got other plans. Yep, you guessed it. The new tax per mile that's proposed. Now people are wondering, how are they going to track this? Well, they already are, aren't they, guys? Through your MOT check. Every time you get an MOT, it logs your mileage. And no doubt at all, this is going to be tied in with the new digital ID. You know, the one that's meant to stop the boats. Let's use a real world example. My mate Drew, absolute legend, went from 73.8 to 116.8 miles in just 6 months. I know, my guy's a machine. At 3 pence per mile, that's £1,288 just for half a year. Add the annual EV road tax, yep, the £195, they went back on that too. So Drew's looking at £2,772 just to do his job. EV savings are not looking so green now. But that'll wipe the smile off his face. Sure, EVs are green, and Drew will be paying less tax than petrol users. Me. But they say 3 pence per mile in this budget. What about the one after? And the one after that? Now, this isn't a political channel, and I hate to make it one, but this legislation will directly interfere with our profit margins. Thanks, Rachel from accounts. What else can you do us for? That's not a dare.
How shocking is that? Right, on with today's shift. First hour up, and this is what I'm on. Hasn't been a bad hour, quite happy with that. Anything over 20 is what I generally aim for. During the last hour then, I just had a comfort job, and it popped up on my screen, prefers hot, prefers heat temperature or something along that line. And of course I've got all my windows open as I'm driving along, and they get in and they go, "Oh, it's freezing in here, can you just put the heating on please?" And I was thinking, it reminded me of that video that I put out, you know, about the AC, them asking for AC, but because they hadn't done comfort, the customer refused. And I thought, oh, go on then, I'll stick it on for you since you've booked a comfort. So I put my windows up and blasted it, they were made up. But as we were driving along, it started to get far too hot for me. So I secretly switched it off. Let's see what the next hour does. Next hour up, it's gone alright, but I have just nearly been in an accident. As I'm driving along, you see how dark it is behind me. These group of kids, teens, well, I don't know, maybe 14 to 16, were all riding on the bikes on the main road against traffic with not a single light on. I just caught them at the last minute because of a reflector on one of the tyres and was able to swerve out. It was so close, guys. Honestly, I nearly had a load of Goonies all over me bonnet. I'm only 3 hours into the shift and this is what I'm on. I am absolutely over the moon with that. It was a couple of little jobs, and then one of them jobs with a couple of stops, and then a wait and return where you wait for them at the destination after a couple of stops and then bring them back. So that was definitely worth it. I think what's happened is at each of the stops, Uber's weight charge seems to have gone through the roof, and it doesn't take long before it starts charging them. So I think that's why I've made so much within that last hour, but I'm certainly not complaining. And because I'm really close to my house, I know I've only been out 3 minutes, but I don't care. I'm self-employed. I'm gonna go and have a cappuccino, it's calling me, and then after that I'll come out and definitely do some more, and let's hope it stays like this. Well, I didn't manage to come out straight away. I ended up coming out at 8:15 because I had a guest turn up at my house. So I ended up having 2 coffees, so not too bad. But during that downtime, I actually had a £5 cash £5 tip come through. So this is what I was on when I left the house at 8:15, and then an hour later, and all I did was 18 quid. I think it's 18 quid. But that's the hour. I really don't like to work, and that, if anyone's been watching me for a while, is why. So hopefully that hour's out the way and it'll carry on, and I'll get back over to me £20 plus an hour. Let's find out. 10:15, and this is what I'm on. So a much better hour, that one. 25 quid I think it was, or thereabouts. I'll stick it here anyway so you can see. Just had one of them customers in my car, and they get in the back and the sneezing and the wiping the nose on an handkerchief that they're putting in the pocket. It was so gross. And then she goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I hope you don't catch this. It's terrible." I put the window straight down, and that window. So I had them both down, letting out all their germs. And she went, "This is why I didn't want to get on the bus, because I don't want people to catch you." Why are we okay to catch it, but people on the bus aren't? That's what I want to know. It's not the first time I've had this type of customer. 11:15, and this is what I'm on. I've just had my first kind of ruffle of the night with some woman who was, she done me head in. So it was an older woman, boomer generation, say, and her daughter. She done nothing but slag her daughter off the whole journey. Really nasty. Her daughter was dropped off first. Now, to get to her daughter's, you'd have to go round this big roundabout with traffic lights on. You know the kind. Drops her off, and then I comes back out of her estate to get back onto the roundabout, to go back round to drop the older woman off. And as we're going round the roundabout, she went, "We've been round here." I went, "What do you mean?" She went, "You're taking me round again and again to increase the price." I went, "I'm doing no such thing." I said, "We've just had to drop Hayley off at a certain point, and now we're going round the roundabout again to get you home." She went, "I've passed this before." I went, yeah, you did pass it before." I said, "I'm taking you straight home now." And she went, "Well, we've already passed this." And the argument went on for ages. I went, "Look, Uber has a full record of my GPS. Take it up with them if you've got a problem." As I was driving down, she went, "I'm phoning my son." And she got on the phone to her son and going, "Stay on the phone with me. I don't trust this taxi driver." I'm thinking, OMG, how's it escalated to this? So I was just silent the entire trip. Took her straight to her house. Went, "Is it okay?" She went, "Yeah, it's fine." Dead snotty and horrible. And then she gets out and slammed me door. So needless to say, a nice 1-star and blocked forever. Some people, all that because she assumed I was trying to make it more by going round a big roundabout twice. What's that, 10 pence? She wasn't even paying the cab. 12:15, and this is what I'm on. The offers have slowed right down. They haven't been very good at all. I've managed to do okay, to be fair, but some of the offers were a bit ridiculous. They're quite far away, and then they're offering you like £4.50, 5 quid, and it's like, Uber, it's Saturday night. I'm not going to risk picking up a drunk to go around the corner, and then I have an episode of like what happened last time with the sick all over my car, just for 4 or 5 quid. You'd have to up the ante here a bit. Well, it's now 1:45. I've decided to call it a night. I'm going to cut my losses and head home. I got a decent trip to get me back towards where I live, and I also had a couple of tips come in as well. It certainly wasn't from that old woman, though. Anyway, let's do the roundup. We've got hours done, total amount, and then by the hour. I don't think that was too bad a shift. I don't know them figures because I don't see them in the car the way you used to, but but I'm pretty sure it was a good shift. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, give us a thumb up. If you're new, give us a sub, and I'll see you in the next one.